or hello everybody. Welcome to another video on my channel. Sitting in front of you is Mapula Setosa, also known as Maple. I'm coming to you from the Lawyer Corner. So this video was supposed to be up a very long time ago. The thumbnail of this video is so different, but I don't want to change it because I had already put it out there. So I just want to apologize for taking so long to upload this video. Before I continue, I just want to say thank you to my 400 and something subscribers. I really appreciate it. I see you and I appreciate the support. So today what we're going to talk about is what to expect when you are completing your articles or doing your articles, or when you are a candidate attorney, which is now called a candidate legal practitioner. What to expect when you are in that space. This is a great extension of where the Lawyer Corner started. The first video, if you haven't watched it, is about the high school part, you get to varsity part, and the second video is about you graduating and not really going, just hitting on the surface about how you get articles, your board exams and everything. So now I'm going to talk about the experience of actually being a candidate legal practitioner. The reason why we say a candidate legal practitioner, most of you might know candidate attorney, but now there is a new act called the Legal Practice Act, where it has now categorized attorneys and advocate as under one umbrella as legal practitioners. You just have to make emphasis at, after saying legal practitioner, you need to say as an attorney or as an advocate. Hence, candidate attorneys are now called candidate legal practitioners. So when you are a candidate attorney, you must expect to do a bit of everything, if not everything. Sometimes you get to go to a firm that's really big and you get to do lawyer stuff. And sometimes you get to go to a really small firm where you get to do most of the administration, driver, messenger type of work. I didn't have a bad experience when I was completing my articles. I was in a medium-sized black law firm, and it had two main big departments. It had the litigation department and the conveyancing department, and I had the opportunity to work in both and really work on the matters. So one thing you need to expect is be there to learn, because you are straight out of varsity. You might have a little bit of cockiness to say, I've got an LLB degree, hello, but now you don't have any practical experience. So everybody around you at that point knows more than you, whether they are the secretary, whether they are the messenger, whether they are the receptionist. They know more than you, and you need to understand the processes. So you might get sent around to go and serve documents, to go and file documents at court. That's only to help you out. That's only to prepare you for when you are an actual senior, to know how your matters run, to know when the court closes. You know, some of these things you will never know if you're never in it or if you never do it. So firstly, I'd say be very humble when you are in a space where you are learning. Just take it as a learning curve. They don't expect you to know everything, but they do expect you to put yourself out there. I'm saying put yourself out there as in, if you are given a matter to deal with, right? Or if you are sent somewhere and you don't necessarily understand something, take the initiative to research. Take the initiative to call your friends who you know have done this before. Call people, research and find out how to do certain things before you go to your senior or your director and say, I can't do it. And then he'll say, what did you try? And then you let him know, no, I researched this, I did this. This also shows an initiative. It shows that this person is here to learn. They're putting themselves out there. They don't want to be spoon-fed. Nobody wants somebody who's going to be spoon-fed, because as a legal practitioner, you are there to solve problems. And if you want to be spoon-fed, then what's the point of having you there? You know what I mean? Going back to being humble. For example, I'm so sorry, I've been doing so many times. If your director asks you to go and find a trial date for them, and they give you the file, and then you read the practice directive, and then you do everything that you're supposed to do, and then you go to court. Do you know where you're going? First and foremost, court is a big building where this section is for that, this section is for that. So you need to put yourself out there and learn and make friends with people at court, so that when they see you, they know that, oh, this is the new girl. She doesn't know things very well. So, helping her is not an issue. But when you are cocky, people are just like, you know what I mean? And you don't want that, because you are still learning. So be humble, guys. Like, if you are asked to go and get a date or for something, for a default judgment, if you are asked to go and serve things, like for example, let me just make this one example as to why you'll be sent around to do messenger things, is that the High Court in Pretoria, and I think most high courts, the basement where you get your files to file your documents closes at 12 o'clock. After 12, you're not allowed to get any files. You'll never know that until you actually go to court and experience it and see the queue, how they fill this out. One day you go there, you don't have your ID, they don't want to give you the file. These are things that you need to learn, so that when you decide one day that you want to open your own practice, you're going to tell your candidate attorney that if you're going to court to get a file, don't forget your ID. Don't go there after 12. Do all these things. These are all processes that are going to help you to become a better practitioner and work within the time frames and the time limits that are requested. So moving on to the other thing is that you are going to be drafting. Drafting. I personally, I love drafting. I love to draft. So you're going to draft letters, notices, pleadings, heads of arguments, settlement agreements, settlement proposals. You are going to draft a lot. Don't just be happy that you're done with a settlement agreement. Go through it again like somebody else wrote it. Go through it with a fine-tooth comb, because you are going to go through it, right? And then you're going to give it to your senior, who is your director or your principal, for them to go through it. You don't want your papers coming back all scratched up, all like you're a little school kid and they had to, fix mistakes for you. That is not a nice feeling, because at the end of the day, you're not a student anymore. You are in a working environment, and that can really demoralize a person. But they need to do it. These are documents that have their names on it. These are documents that represent them in the legal field, and hence they will go through them with a fine-tooth comb. So if you've drafted a document, okay, because normally you just draft a document and you just write whatever you feel like is necessary in there, and then you go through it with a fine-tooth comb. If necessary, go through it a third time. There is nothing more rewarding. Well, there is more rewarding things, but there is nothing more rewarding like taking your first draft. I get it, the principal doesn't know that this is your third look on the draft. Taking your first draft to your director and them saying, it's fine. All they did is add a signature and use. That is going to build your confidence. It's going to build the trust from the director to say, she takes her work seriously. She takes my business seriously. So I would recommend that you go through your work. Don't just rush to say, I'm done. And then when you're done, you have to go back and go back and go back. It's not a nice feeling. Rather go through your work properly and give yourself time on your work. The other thing is reading. Reading, it doesn't necessarily have to be work. Just to read books and enjoy reading. I'm saying this because in the legal field, the dominant language that is used is English, and you want to be well conversed in the language. You want to have a great understanding of the language. One thing a book does for you is that you will find words. And what I do sometimes is that when I read a book, I'm now reading a book called Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell, a great author, recommended by my boss. There's words that he uses in there. You know what this word means. Like, he didn't have to use that word. But because of the theatric or because of the intense meaning when you say that word, it gives it more life, or, pardon me, it gives it more life. So then you want to use that word. So you look up the word. There's nothing, you will never forget a word that you look up. Learned this from my brother. My brother is he's like a walking encyclopedia. And he's like that because he reads and he understands the words that he does. So when you do ask him for a word, or when you ask him to spell something, or what this word means, he'll rather say, okay, they spell it like this so that you can find it in the dictionary. But then he'll never tell you what it means so that you can know it. You'll never forget the day that you went, like, I don't know, you can't forget it. You'll read it and you'll know it, and you're like, oh, this is what it means. So read books, because it's going to open your vocabulary, it's going to give you more confidence in the English language, and also it's going to show in your drafting that this person drafts like a proper drafter, okay? And when you're doing your articles, you are obviously going to have the experience of going to court for the first time, hopefully. Me personally, in my own experience, I did not get to go to court a lot for matters, but because you'll be a candidate legal practitioner, you'll only be going to the magistrate court, where you have to deal with little sums of money, okay? So when you go there, you're going to have to apply for right of appearance so that you can appear on behalf of your director. Every time you go to court, you need to have that certificate to present. Every time you go to court and you are going to be in front of a magistrate that you've never been in front of, you are going to need to introduce yourself to the magistrate in their chambers. Their chambers is like their office. So you'll go to chambers, you'll go there. It goes back to being humble, to say, Your Worship, I am a candidate legal practitioner. This is my first time appearing in your court. I am a bit nervous. I just wanted you to know that I am new, and I would ask for leniency wherever I do mistakes. Just be a person, because one thing that I realized is that they understand. Give out. They are people. They are human. They've been there before. They know that you must be terrified. They understand. So go there, so that when you do F up in court, they understand that they can even guide you, hold your hand, for lack of a better word, and assist you to say, when you speak in court, you need to stand up. Because these are the things that you learn in school, like lawyer skills or attorney skills, or like the court decorum, the attire, how you must behave. When you speak, you must stand. You can't speak when someone else is speaking. All these things are things that you learn on the book. But then when you have to implement them for the first time, it could be a bit nerve-wracking. I remember my first court experience, guys. Number one, my pen wasn't working. I had two pens. The one pen wasn't working. The other pen was orange. And then I addressed to the magistrate while I was sitting down. And then he looked at me and he's like, I can't recognize you. I can't hear you. Where are you? And then I was like, oh, flip, I need to stand up. And then I apologized for that. But if I had not introduced myself, do you understand the intensity of how he was going to lash out at me to say, you are in my court, you're disrespecting my court, these are the procedures in my court, I'm supposed to know them. But because I was new and because I didn't introduce myself, it wasn't that bad. So be prepared to go to court, be prepared to be very nervous, and be prepared to just learn. Because this is not Suits. This is nothing like Suits where you go, the theatrics, nah. It is nothing like that. So yeah, just be willing to learn and put yourself out there and read your books, read your rules, read your practice directives, try and understand. When you're faced with a matter, do the research, try and come up with a solution, bring it up at meetings. Don't be scared, don't be too cocky, because there's nothing more amazing than when your articles are completed and your boss asks you to stay there as a junior attorney. Get -1 for you, because at some firms they can give you the opportunity to complete your articles for a year or two, and then you find that at the end of that article it's like, thank you so much, we helped you with your journey, this is it. That does not feel nice. You know, you want that. So that's basically what to expect as a candidate legal practitioner to do. Don't forget about consulting with clients. Normally a first consultation will take 1 hour. Okay, try your very best to make sure that you keep it within an hour, because time is money. Okay, and if you are going to consult for 1 hour 30 minutes and your client saw that when or asked or called and said, how much is a first time consultation, and then maybe the receptionist says, no, the first time consultation is 2,000 rand, and then that guy has 2,000 rand in his pocket and then he goes there. You need to know that it's an hour, because now it's going to cross over to 1 hour 15 minutes, and then he doesn't understand why you're billing him 4,000 rand. You need to make sure that you listen attentively. You listen with the objective of what is this person, what is the legal question at the end of this, because clients will speak and speak because it's personal for them, but you need to know how to interject without being rude. When you are done, you must be able to answer the legal question, to say, hey, we can take on your matter is dealing with this and that. You need to listen with the objective of what is this person actually asking. Don't listen there like, and then Mara, how could you do that? No, that's not your job. Your job is to listen objectively and to give legal advice. Sometimes it's going to be very hard. Sometimes the pay is not quite good. It's very sad when you're working so hard and at the end of the month you get such little pay. But it differs from firm to firm. I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to speak for everybody collectively, but I know that most firms do take a little bit of advantage over the candidate legal practitioners, to say that's your first job and you're not doing much, you're still learning, I'm still going to spend time teaching you, so why do you want me to pay you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds? So it is a bit challenging. Making money in the legal field takes time, especially as a practitioner, as an attorney, sorry. As an attorney, it takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a whole lot of passion, because sometimes they're gonna scream at you because they also have their own stresses. Ooh, my top. They have their own stresses, and you'll see why they have their own stresses, because it's stressful, because guys, we're dealing with people's lives here. You know what I mean? Like, livelihoods of people are dependent on you, so it is gonna happen that you're gonna be stressed, like, most of the time. But if you enjoy what you do and you do it with a passion, and your objective is to get a great outcome, you're gonna enjoy it. And be firm and affirmative, and let people know, but don't be cocky about it, and enjoy it and take it as it comes. You can learn. Let me tell you one thing, big tip: keep the secretaries close. You can learn so much from the secretaries, because they understand all of these processes. Before you go to your principal, go to the secretary. They'll tell you, don't do that, do this, don't. Keep those people close, because they've been in the profession, they understand it like the back of their hand, and they'll be there to help you. I'm sure they'll be there to help you. Secretaries are like our work moms. They literally are there to help you. From me to you guys is thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. It's not really much, but it is what to expect when you are a candidate legal practitioner / candidate attorney, and I hope this gave some insight to the profession and to the experience that you might go through. It is intense, it is stressful, but at the end of the day, you are gonna thank yourself for going through it. Sometimes you get into the profession and you're like, I don't think this is for me, and that's okay. One thing that I've realized is that with an LLB, you can literally work anyway. So if you feel like you don't want to be an attorney, you can try and be like an advocate. And if you don't want to be an advocate, you can also try another route. But there is always something for you to fall back on. Don't want to make this video any longer. I also have to get going. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking the videos. I really appreciate it. And share the video, guys. I really appreciate it. From me to you guys, it's peace, love, and happiness.